Welcome back to the Smoke Shed Studio for another artisanally handcrafted episode of the Cigar Social Podcast. This is episode 6. Thanks for joining. My name is Matt. Across from me is a man who enjoys long walks on the beach, watching sunsets, and has been caught putting the lime in the coconut. Ken, how's it going, buddy?
You complete me. I'm doing great. Thanks, Matt. Thanks for having me on again.
And to my left, which is Ken's right,
Yes.
man who has pretty much done it all. He has a master's degree in public health and another in finance. Also a bachelor's degree in healthcare administration. He was once a licensed banker, then a pharmaceutical sales rep, and then, halfway through law school, he got a call from Chicago Fire Department. He spent 7 years as a firefighter before retiring and starting his own cigar company. He has been guided and mentored by cigar industry giants, including Jonathan Drew, Sean Williams, and Terrence Riley. His cigars have been made in some of the best facilities in the business, including El Titan de Bronze and now Aganorsa Leaf. Ladies and gentlemen, the CEO and owner of Black Star Line Cigars, Aric Bey.
Hey, what's happening? How's everybody doing?
Welcome. Thanks for coming. Doing fine.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
You bet.
Did I get all that right?
You did. Yeah, it is quite of a long resume. So
nice.
There's one thing you did miss though.
Uh-oh.
So in my early 20s, I had a cologne business. I used to sell
Get out of
knockoff
here.
bottles of cologne on the street on the west side of Chicago. So that's where a lot of my hustle came
He's a
from.
big fan of high karate. You got any left?
I wish I said so.
Yeah.
For some knockoff jupe.
Yeah.
Obsession. You know? So yeah,
Obsession.
cool water.
Missing one of the old, it's like that kind of
Right.
deal. It's obsession.
Right. Obsession with one S.
Exactly.
So yeah.
Last weekend, Ken and I sat here and did some research. I had the original Warwich, the Connecticut
Okay.
rep, and Ken had the Lalibela.
Nice.
I can only speak on the Warwich, but that was awesome. Just
Oh, thank you.
absolutely awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
I saw a few other of the Black Star Line cigars at the local Benny's around here, and from the eye test, they just looked beautifully crafted. From the Corojo 99 on the Dark Warwich and the, what was it, the Sun-Grown Habano on the El Milagro.
Yep.
I can't wait to try them all, which brings us to a segment we call Show and Tell. Listener, every episode we alternate who brings the bottle, who brings the cigars. This is a little different, but we also we like to light the stogies first. In our last episode, I brought the Espinosa Habano number 5.
Okay.
This week it's Ken's turn. Ken, what do you have for us today?
Well, we have the feature here, the Warwich, which we've had, like you said, last week we had an opportunity to try some of the other bit of the line, and we were immediately impressed. And I haven't had this one, so it's new to me. Got some facts on it for you though. The one we're looking at right now is a 6x46 box press, and it is Nicaraguan Puro. So we've got the wrapper, we've got the binder, we've got the filler, are all from Nicaragua. And if I'm saying it right, please forgive me if I'm not. From what did you say, Aganorsa Leaf?
Aganorsa Leaf,
Is
yep.
the one who actually supplies it, rolls these. And as it is, immediately when you do try it, I didn't do the dry pull or the cold pull off the bat, but you do taste that pepper. You do taste those hints right off the bat. I mean, the flavor's there. And also, too, from my test as it is, I take that pull off of it, and if I immediately get that push of the smoke effortlessly, it burns real nice and smooth. And obviously, when I push through it, lights up. Full strength, right off the bat. I don't really feel it. It feels very tasty.
Yeah, this is a full body, full strength, right?
Yeah, and it deceivingly.
Yeah, depending on how strong you smoke.
Yeah.
Some people will say it's medium full.
Okay.
If you don't smoke that strong on a regular basis, it may be full body. So it just depends.
Well, I know the difference between the two Warwiches, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. The original had the Connecticut wrapper. This has the Corojo 99.
Mm-hmm.
So you're adding a little more body to it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I believe you also added a little more Lajero to it.
I did.
So it gives just a little more pop.
Oh yeah.
Well,
yeah,
I'm thinking
you definitely did your research. Yeah.
So I'm a little bit
exactly
worried at this point because I'll take I'll go with it, and I'm like, probably down to here. I'm like, oh, this feels like nothing. All of a sudden, I'll probably be like, okay, yeah, I like you.
like
You
a cobra coming out of the basket.
Exactly, yeah, it's basically just, I like that. Or it's like also the constrictor's just like, got me. So
If you got a clarinet around here, we'll just start playing it for you. You start swaying.
That's why we got the nice carpet, because they need to lay down on it.
Well, you've mentioned in a previous interview that these are magically delicious.
Oh yeah, Lucky
And
Charms.
I will say right from Jump Street, this thing is a flavor bomb. Just from the beginning here. Folks, just so you know, we got these cigars from Benny's Humidor in Geneva. You can find Black Star Line Cigars at all Benny's locations. I believe there's, 47-ish?
Yep. 47.
Yep.
So,
And the ones that I got last week, immediately, I was in Lombard, and all I did is walk in, and it's Black Star. Like, oh, they're right there. They readily known, because the guy I knew right away, and it sounds like people immediately gravitate toward them. So they're well known, well sold.
And we haven't even made it to that location yet. So once we get
No
in there and
kidding.
spend about an hour in there just talking to people, they really. That's what we do. We go around to different Benny's locations when we have time. And we just spend an hour and a half in the humidor just talking to people and meeting them. If they want to take pictures, we take pictures, and we tell them the story about the company, tell them about the cigars, everything. And the customers just love it. Because it's not a lot of times that they get to run into the owners of the companies. They smoke all these different products, but they never really meet the owner. But I'm like, hey, I'm here. So you can run into me at the grocery store, because I'm in the area.
A handful of people in the industry that'll go and actually shake the hands and sit in the lounges, sit in the stores.
Yeah.
And I know, and I kind of joke about that, say, hey, the celebrities and stuff, and that's what I was saying before. I'm like, and thank you, like I said, for coming, because we bring some class to our little shed here. But more importantly, it is when they folks see that, like, okay, that was your cigar, okay, and because they immediately relate to a good experience with it, and I think that's across the board. When me and him first started this podcast, it was, we always say, just average Joe and Joanne's who really don't know too much about, but they know what they like.
Yeah.
And all too often you'll have somebody go into a place and they'll look and say, "All right, what is it that I like? That looks good, or that looks, a darker one probably is stronger, whatever it may be." And obviously that's not the case. But so we started this as basically a learning type of journey
for us
entirely,
and for other people, because I mean, it's overwhelming sometimes when you walk into a humidor or you walk into a bourbon aisle at a Benny's and you're just standing there scratching your head like there's just too many options. You don't know.
Bottles everywhere.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
And so we can try certain things, give our regular Joe and Joanne type of, review. I mean, we're not professionals.
It's not even 2 cents. It's barely.
It's about a penny and a half.
0.75.
Yeah.
I thought maybe,
So, but at least somebody, one of our 3 listeners can say, yep, they smoked that last week. I'm going to go try it.
Yeah.
And the other 2 are normally sleeping, so we'll go with that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we got the smoke out of the way. After talking to Aric leading up to this episode, he recommended the proper pairing for the Dark Warwich. Right. And when the man who makes the cigar suggests the pairing, you kind of have to go with it.
You listen.
Willett Pot Still.
You listen.
But I got a new pairing for Dark Warwich now, though. It's Room 101 Gin. So,
Room 101 has a gin?
Yeah, Boofy has a gin. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
so
he's done to us. Look what he's done to us.
He sent me a bottle to my house. So, because I had it out in Vegas. And I was like, dude, I like it, man. He was like, brother, I'm going to send you one. Then he never sent it. So I harassed the hell out of his ass. I kept texting him. I was like, fuck, are you going to send the bottle? What? Do I need to come up to Seattle and whoop your ass so you'll send the fucking bottle?
Here we go.
So then he dropped it in the mail for me. Nice little package, had a shirt in there. And he put a little sign note. I was like, oh.
How nice.
Our bromance grew.
Yeah, okay.
So,
it's like, here's a note. Don't kick my ass. Thank you. It was like that. Okay.
But Matt's a wild boy though, so he was a Marine, so then he was a bodyguard for undisclosed people after that, and he was like, yeah, I can't tell you who I was defending and all that stuff. I was like, oh, okay.
His cigars have,
you almost don't want to know.
The logo, his whole culture that he built around his company has a certain attitude to it, a certain charm. So, this bottle. I've actually had before, one of my favorite bourbons. I've actually been to this distillery. I've seen their operation. I've tried their entire line. From a small family, and I'm going to do air quotes here. They're a pretty big company, but it's a small family-owned distillery in Bardstown, Kentucky. They have a tradition of distilling for over 150 years. Guys and gals, not dolls. Today's bottle is the Willett Pot Still Reserve Small Batch Straight Kentucky Bourbon. At 94 proof, this is a 12-barrel small batch. Aromas, you'll get brown sugar, molasses, and caramel. Flavors, you'll find vanilla, caramel, and butterscotch. This is aged between 8 and 10 years. If you haven't seen this, the unique bottle is shaped to replicate the very large and very old vintage copper pot still that they still have in the middle of their distillery, which is actually still in use. It's really cool when you walk into that distillery. Small fact about small batch.
Oh.
There's actually no exact definition on how small a small batch can be. On average, most distilleries use an average of 200 barrels for a small batch. This Willet is a 12 barrel. Small batch is generally meant to indicate a smaller number of barrels than normally used in normal production. So keep in mind, in some situations, since there are no specific parameters around what constitutes a small batch, the term could be meaningless.
So you actually, right off the bat, you said it was a single pot, so it's coming from a single distillery. And like you said, the pot method, is slow process, and
Yeah.
so this is going to be unique. This is going to be good. I've never tried it.
Oh, you never had that one?
No, that's what we try to do.
The genie bottle.
Yeah, that's why I looked at it, and I'm like,
let's
so
do
what we
it.
try to do.
Cheers.
Oh, caught you off guard. Here we go. All right. So the good and the bad behind it was that when I went to the distillery, it was closed operating hours when they weren't distilling. So
Okay.
they were like, "Oh, look at this empty tank over here, and look at and imagine this happening over here." And all through the tour, the tour guide was like, "Don't worry, we'll make it up to you in the tastings. We'll make it up to you."
Oh, there you go.
Sure enough, we got to the tasting room. He's like, "This is this is that," and lined them all up from Johnny Drum all the way to their Family Reserve and their pot still. He's like,
nice.
"I'll be back in about 20 minutes."
Yeah.
So we were like, "All right, this is nice."
It was a free for all. Huh?
It was only like 5 of us,
Okay.
but we tasted all of them.
Oh, that's enough to do a lot of damage.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know we were going
do damage on some bottles.
to do more damage by mistake,
But they're rick houses that they have where they store. We were walking in there, and they were like, "Yeah, there's barrels up there that's been there for 15, 20 years."
Okay.
I'm like, "Oh man, can I
Yeah.
drill a little hole and pour glass?" But
Yeah. One of my good buddies is friends with the owner of Willet. So
Oh, cool, cool.
I was like, yeah, you gotta connect me with him so we could do a Black Star Line Willet type situation, a collaboration. That'll be nice.
My thoughts.
yeah. What are your
Okay.
thoughts?
Mainly from the nose. Okay, you're getting a light aroma. You're getting that balance. You can smell the alcohol. So when I get to the palate, you can taste. And now I'm, I think it's probably the first one we've had that's been in a barrel for as long. What you said, 8 to 10.
8 to 10 years.
Probably-
So yeah, this is probably the oldest whiskey we've had on a show.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can immediately taste what it is leached from the barrel. What, when people often talk about, it's been in this barrel for X amount of time or whatever it may be, I can immediately discern that. I could say, we've had these ones that have been, those 2, maybe the 4 years. If this is the 8 to 10, there is a marked difference. You can tell it, the flavors are there. And then on the finish, it is a nice slow burn, and then it disappears.
Yeah.
So it is
Delightful.
Magically delicious.
Yeah, magically delicious with cigar.
Great pair.
Bravo. Not only you know cigars, you also know how to pair it with a brown liquor. Here's to you.
Yeah, in my retired days, that's all I do is sit around and pair things. So,
Perfect segue.
you
That's what we
know,
need.
just-
So you're a retired Chicago firefighter.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you for your years of service. I was also a
thank you.
former firefighter when I lived out in Jersey.
Oh, cool.
So real quick, let's get this out of the way. What's the best movie, Backdraft or Ladder 49?
Come on.
Backdraft.
Of course. Of course. Okay. I'm like, this is like low hanging fruit.
I
Come
know.
on.
Yeah.
Ladder
Some
49?
people
Yeah,
say
it's a
Ladder
Chicago
49.
classic.
Yeah, I guess.
Ladder 49 was cool, but
there's
it
no back-
wasn't filmed in Chicago.
That was
It
the-
wasn't
that was the
supposed to be based
Travolta
out
one,
of
Yeah,
right?
Chicago.
yeah. There's no backtrack.
So, yeah, De Niro, and so you got some classic actors in the movie.
Kurt
so,
Russell?
It was
Right.
Kurt Russell, right?
Yeah, Kurt Russell.
Who's
Yep.
the guy
So,
there? The bad. Who was the bad guy? The ball. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Wait,
then
what was Kurt Russell's name? Bull?
yeah, Bull. Yeah,
I mean,
Yeah. I'm looking at his face
That's it
right
right
now.
there.
The bad guy in that. Who
There's the
was
trailer.
the guy who was the Jack Crawford in Silence of the Lambs? That guy, that actor.
Oh, yeah, I know you're talking about.
You know what I'm
I can't
talking
remember
about?
his
I mean, and I'm looking at him right now, and okay, we're gonna have a we're gonna have a research expert pull it up for us.
So let's start from the beginning. How long have you been in the cigar industry, and what inspired you to get into the cigar business?
Well, I am a baby in the industry. Actually, I don't even consider myself a baby. I consider myself sperm in the industry. So I'm just swimming along till I get bigger.
The journey.
Just trying to make it to the egg. That's all I'm trying to do right now. But yeah, a little bit over 2.5 years, so maybe like 2 years and 8 months or something like that. So yeah, we're very, very young in cigar industry compared to like Arturo Fuente and the rest of the giants around.
I mean, some of those families, like the Plasencia family, like they've been growing tobacco for 150 years, you know, starting back in Cuba and then migrating from Honduras to Nicaragua.
Oh yeah.
The name Black Star Line has historic significance and ties back to a well-known civil rights activist. Can you tell the listener the meaning behind it?
Yeah, so Black Star Line is Marcus Garvey's shipping company. So his idea was to ship people and goods back to Africa, but he was buying dilapidated ships, so the ships couldn't make that travel across the ocean. So he only made it to like the islands, Bahamas, Trinidad, and islands like that. So I thought it was a good way to pay homage to him. A lot of people know about the bigger civil rights activists like Malcolm X and Martin Luther King, but a lot of people don't know anything about Marcus Garvey or even heard of him. So I thought it was a good way to pay homage to him. So I chose to name the company after his shipping company. Now, the Black Star Line was derived from the White Star Line, which is the company that built the Titanic. So that's even further more history that goes into the names. So there's a White Star Line, there's a Black Star Line, and then like I said, the White Star Line built the Titanic, and everybody knows the Titanic.
And the Black Star definitely improved that design.
Everybody knows that.
Titanic, I'm like, that sounds like a safer bet.
So real quick, the Black Star Line fact, and maybe you know, maybe you don't, but Black Star Line was mentioned in a handful of music, famously starting back in the 70s by Fred Locks, one of the first of his 1976 hit Black Star Liners, which has been called one of the most important songs in reggae music.
That one's new to me. I've never heard that one before.
And then 1978 was the reggae song Black Star Liner by the Regulars.
Okay.
And there's a couple other ones, but those are like the two famous ones.
The one I always reference is Black Star with Mos Def and Talib Kweli. So because I'm a big hip hop fan, so that's another way I'm paying homage too, because that's a great album. So anytime I'm doing like interviews, like if I had done this interview via Zoom with you all and I was at home, to hype myself up, I would listen to Black Star before I get on and take a couple of drinks and just, because I'm always nervous before interviews. A lot of people think when I'm on an interview, because I'm talking so smooth and and it's just natural.
Right.
But
Seems
no,
natural.
I'm nervous as fuck.
Every
time. It doesn't matter who. I'm nervous every time. I literally have to hype myself up. And then 10 minutes before they get you
together. So it's like game time. It's like getting ready to hit the field.
Yeah, it's like I'm leaving the locker room. I'm ready. But I got to get myself hyped up. Then once the interview starts, I'm ready, and I get a little whiskey, and I was like, oh, let's go.
Okay, yeah. Well, you did it perfect. I mean, I would never know. Let's see. It seemed like.
Yeah, if I didn't tell you, you wouldn't know. But I'm nervous as hell, like almost like a nervous wreck. I'm like trying to make sure everything's set up, and then make sure my lights are going.
You should see me 30 minutes before we get here.
I think what we got here is a pair of perfectionists.
Getting microphones ready.
Perfectionism puts a lot of pressure on you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I stopped being perfectionist, I think, second grade. But
it didn't last.
I mean, that's what my mom tells me at least.
Because I just did Cigar Coop's podcast on Wednesday, and I was nervous all day. I was going to pick up my daughter and was thinking about the damn interview and was nervous, and I'm like, dude, relax. You've done interviews a million times.
I mean, I was about to say, how many times have you had the same questions? I'm going to try to change it up a little bit, but I'm sure you've answered these same questions a million times already.
At a certain point, I get on autopilot, and the answer just rolls out.
Well, I mean, Matt especially is very excited for this upcoming. Very excited. I mean, the only pep talk we do normally with one another is look at each other like, it's like, hey, be cool. Yeah, we got somebody on, celebrity on. Be cool, right? Be cool. I'm cool. Yeah, you're cool. All right. And we kind of like slap each other. We kind of sit down and.
I want everybody to know that I am a man of my word. So if I say I'm gonna come do an interview, or I'm scheduled to do an interview, I'm gonna do it.
That is awesome. That is awesome.
So the Black Star Line logo is an African symbol, am I right?
Yeah. So
What's the significance behind that?
it's it's the crossroads.
Okay.
So that's what the X symbolizes, the crossroads. So, but it's used a symbol used to open up the roads. So instead of going left or right, it's just opened up my roads to positivity and longevity, wealth. So that's why I wanted to use it, and it brings energy to the company. So that's the reason why I use that symbol.
The cigar industry seems to be very diverse and promotes equality with race and gender, at least from the window I can see through. At your level of involvement in the industry and through your experience, have you ever had a moment of resistance or pushback, being a black-owned business, or static towards the company's name and significance?
No.
No.
If it wasn't brought to my attention.
No.
It was said behind closed doors. I don't know, and I honestly don't care.
Yeah.
Right. No.
But the only pushback I'll get is price. You know, depending on what the tax level is in whatever state it is. Because in Illinois, the tax for tobacco is 36%. California and New York easily 75, 80. You know, depending on which one you're talking about. Yeah. So it's just based on where you're talking about. And then that's where I'll get pushback as far as price. But shit, I can't do nothing about the price. I don't own Aganor, so I don't own. Yeah. I've never even met Eduardo Fernandez. So, what his price is, that's what his price is. I'm his customer.
Sure.
So he sells me the tobacco at whatever price, and then I have to sell it based on what they sell it to me for. So I don't have anything to do with that.
Yeah, I know. I've heard an interview with Sean Williams, and he was mentioning the same thing where the cigar industry and is very. There's really it's a place where everyone, no matter what, can sit down, burn one, have a drink, and have a good conversation, and there's no boundaries or anything like that. And I think that's one of the appreciations I have for the cigar industry. Your first cigar is named El Milagro, which translates to the miracle.
Yep.
Which was made by El Titan de Bronze. Can you talk a little bit more on why you named it that?
I thought it was a miracle we even got into the industry, and for a well-known factory like them to roll for us, because it took me a long time to even get their acceptance into working with us, because El Titan is so small.
Yeah.
Like at the time, they had 10 rollers, which is extremely small for a factory.
I think they're down to like 7 now.
Yeah, they lost COVID. 3. Yeah, I don't know where they went, but they might have found somewhere else that was paying more money. I don't know, but they did lose 3. Yeah. You know, it's tough to have that small of a factory, because they not only are they small, but they have titans coming out of the factory. So you got Cohiba Series M coming out of there. You got not all, but some of Warp's stuff coming out of there.
Jerez still in Miami, I believe.
Yeah, Herrera still in Miami, comes out of there because that's his mother-in-law, so he's definitely gonna do work out of there. And then you got the La Palina Goldies being rolled there too, and then there's other HVC is recently doing stuff out of there, and he's never done anything there. So it's a small factory that's pumping out big numbers, but it also drags out the lead time on when I can get cigars from them, because I do have a new blend through them, and it's delicious.
Can you spill any secrets or any teasers?
It's a Sumatra wrapper with a San Andreas binder and Nicaraguan filler, medium full.
I got this. So when do you want to come back on the show and bring that?
Bro, I'll come anytime y'all want me to come.
Fair enough.
Yeah, we're not too far away, so anytime you need me, let me know.
Question about I think the listeners really want to know, because I definitely want to know too. Warwich.
Mm-hmm.
Where the name come from?
It's a movie. Yeah, Warwich is a movie. It can, as far as I know right now, it can only be found on Amazon Prime. You may be able to find it on YouTube. I don't know.
I think it came out, 2012?
13.
Yeah, roughly.
Yeah.
I did actually get the chance to see it.
Yeah. So it's about a young lady that has spiritual powers to see her ancestors. So the local army took her with them, and anytime they were getting ready to get attacked, the ancestors would come and warn them, like, yo, they coming to fuck y'all up, so you better do something. And they would strategize, either run or fight. So I thought it was a dope movie. So I was like,
because it was suggested at that point in time that, because Matt told me about it. I'm like, I'm going to check this movie out.
Yeah.
And
You like it?
well, the movie is a deep dive.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if you really look at it and you really get into what's going on in that movie, right off the bat, what jumps at you is like the impoverishment. The way people are just trying to survive, and you're talking about the ghosts, stuff like that.
Yep.
And looking at, you see the spirituality throughout of it, which is basically that psychological outlet, so they can go and survive. But one of the things that really got to me was, you've got the, I'm guessing where it was or where it's depicted to be, and it's probably a Democratic Republic of Congo.
Yeah.
I'm guessing
It's
there.
Congo. Yep.
And there's a scene in there. Some of the lifeline scene is there when they are hand mining the coltan, okay, which is a mineral, a dark mineral that's there, and they're doing it by hand. And more and more I looked into that, I was shocked to recognize what it was about, namely the components of what that is. I mean, there's two parts with that. When they get that, it's a very sought after mineral because of its components, because of the tantalum and also the niobium. The tantalum is, well, we all have one. We all have it in these.
Your cell phone.
Okay, and it became so sought after because I think only actually 2/3 of the world's depositories come from there. So during these war-torn countries, that's just how they're supplying the war effort, and they're pressing people into it. I think and what's the thing about it? Yeah, it's the component because of its ductility or the ductileness of it. It can it's amazing what it can do with the properties as far as the technological bit. It can be put in the body, so you're using for pacemakers and a host of other things. And then I think Amnesty International, back in 2001, estimated that Rwanda received about 200 million or 250 million from the sales, and they don't even mine it. So they grab it from other places, but they call that a conflict mineral. Yeah. So now, and with
like blood diamonds.
Exactly, like blood diamond. Diamonds are okay. Who gets a diamond? I mean, I don't, but everybody gets one of these. Right. And it was kind of sad to me, real sad to me. I'm like, people have no idea what is going on and how this is being put to your ear, and definitely people have a blind eye to that.
Yeah, and where it came from, and the history of
it. Oh yeah, death is it seems so normal. It was like,
unfortunately,
it was terrible, but. It is great that you're able to do this tribute, but I did like the movie. It was a deeper dive. It was pretty cool, and it had a bunch of awards for what it was, depicting. Yeah. So great choice. Always remember that when I see this.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I got to see the new bands for it because actually Aric from Cigar Dojo redid the band for Warwitch. So there's the next edition, quote unquote, of Warwitch that's coming out has a different band on it.
Really?
Yeah. And then actually, Aric redid the band for Lalibela as well.
He did.
So So those are all Cigar Dojo work. So I really appreciate that.
Yeah. So how many blends did you try before finally deciding on what now is El Milagro?
When I put those two blends together, and I always give credit, so I didn't put those two blends together by myself. I put them together with Aric Bey, who was a childhood friend of mine. So me and him worked on those two blends initially together. We didn't alter the blends a lot. We sent them two specific blends, and we just ran with those blends and changed them to make them to what they are. So the issue was El Titan is small, like we discussed. But everybody in the factory caught COVID, so the factory was closed. So when they opened back up, it was balls to the wall trying to catch up on everything.
I'm sure
that they missed out on for the 2 months they were closed. So I'm the absolute low dog in that factory. So they didn't really have a lot of time to roll for me because Sean brought the damn Cohiba Series M through there, and they were too busy rolling that. So.
Blame Sean.
So you had to take a number, and, kind of like,
I'm at the deli. I got a number, and I'm just standing there,
It says 22 up there.
Yeah, watching them just shaving beef, and I just fucking, and I'm just watching, So I talked to Terrence, and I was like, hey man, I was like, I need to do something with these blends because I need. it's a regular production stick, but I can't have a regular production stick in limited edition quantities. Because Sandy says she can. Sandy's the owner of El Titan. She was like, I can get you sticks, but it's not what you want. And I was like, yeah, that's not gonna work out well because I'm growing fast.
Yeah.
So I sent a few sticks down to Aganorsa, told them what the blends were, and they did their thing and they replicated those blends for me, and they're damn near identical.
Really?
Yeah. So actually, the Sun-Grown Habano, in my opinion, the Aganorsa version is better than the El Titan version. The Corojo of El Milagro and the San Andreas version of El Milagro, they're almost similar. Like I was literally smoking both of them at the same time, and I couldn't tell. It was if it was a difference, it was so slight. You wouldn't. If I didn't tell you I changed it, you wouldn't even know.
So getting back to when they're saying like what you wouldn't have wanted, said, hey, we have this. What would there have been a change in the binder or something like that, or would have been more of that homogenized binder? Or
Yeah, I've had samples sent to me from another factory that the cigar was like 100% earth notes.
Okay.
And that doesn't sit well with me. I love earth because San Andreas is my favorite wrapper, so San Andreas naturally has an earth tone to it. But everything about the cigar is earth? No. No. Yeah, that's not. There's no transition. It's just earth from the foot to the cap. No, I can't do that. So yeah, it'll be a change, and I may change the binder to change the notes in the cigar. I may change something in the filler. I may be like, hey, I like the flavor profile, but the strength isn't there, so I need you to add more ligero. So, because the difference between the dark Woolwich and the regular Woolwich is the change in the wrapper was the Connecticut to the Corojo 99. But like Matt mentioned, I added more ligero to the filler, so to make it stronger, because people wanted a darker, stronger version of Woolwich. So, and that's how.
It's really funny because if you smoke the original Woolwich, it's already got pop. It's got the flavor. I mean,
this is amazing.
But yeah, I was about to say, this thing is just amazing.
It's a great blend.
Yeah. It's balanced on the scales.
I mean, the funny thing about it is it was just simple changes. Like if I never told you that the dark Woolwich and the original Woolwich are the same fucking blend, you'd have thought they were two different blends. Yeah. But it's the wrapper changes the whole flavor profile. And like I said, if I didn't tell you they're the identical blends, you'd have thought they were two different blends. But they're the same. It's just two changes. That's it. Real simple. So I do simple stuff, bro. I don't try to reinvent the wheel and all that stuff. I get a good blend.
But you still got that mad scientist vibe about you, though. There's no question.
Yeah.
When you finally had El Milagro in your hand, what was your next step? Like, where did you start sales? How did you take off?
I've been a long-time customer of Underground in Fort Worth. So I was talking to Don, the owner of Underground, and I was talking about an order that had placed with him, and I hadn't got it yet. So he was like, man, just call me. So I called him, and we were talking. And I was like, we talked about the order, and I was like, hey, man, I just want to let you know, I got some cigars coming out, and I'm sure he hears that like 8,000 times a day. So he was like, okay. Then I was like, yeah, it's coming out El Titan de Bronze. And he was like, what? I was like, yeah, Sandy's doing the sticks for me. He was like, dude, that's my favorite factor, right? And I was like, nah, I didn't. I'm not a mind reader. So, so he was like,
who knew? Yeah.
He was like, you're gonna sell them through my lounge, right? And I was like, shit, I guess I am.
Wait, we're gonna do this now? Okay,
and he was my very first customer, man. He ordered 30 boxes from me and hadn't even smoked the cigars.
Wow.
And
he just knew from that quality.
From the factory it's coming from. Yeah, he just knew. And man, he was the very first person in lounge to believe in me. And they were my very first customers. And that's why I'm so loyal to Underground. So any like brand new release, I'd release it through them first. And I let them sell it, and then I release it everywhere else. So I give them homage, and I give them deference above anybody and everybody else to have anything new that I got.
Here's the loyalty.
Yep.
So now you're working and validating with Terrence Riley at Aganorsa Leaf. which is where this amazing dark Warwich was born.
ABV. Always be validating.
How is it working with that team and that operation?
It's great.
I can imagine.
The only complaint about Aganorsa is they've become so popular that the factory is at capacity. So what that means for me is it takes longer for me to get cigars. So it used to be a 3-month lead time for me to get cigars, and now it's 6. But it's not just that. It's the fact that Nicaragua got hit by hurricanes twice. All the civil unrest that was going on, And then I think every factory down there is having problems retaining rollers.
Are they in Esteli?
Yeah, they're in Esteli. Yeah, so they have problems. Rollers will hop around depending on who's paying. And then I was recently, Terrence was here in Chicago, so me and him went out for dinner and drinks. And he was like, a couple of people that I know from the factory, shit, one of them's in St. Louis right now, and one of them's like in Miami, like just trying to find a regular job. So they left the factory just to come to America and just to try to, make a life here. So that's an issue that's going on, is retaining rollers, because that's very important. You got to have somebody that's really thorough about what they're doing to roll your stuff. So that's another reason why it's the lead time is changing. So
no question there, because generally it takes 20 years to be like a master roller. Yeah. Somebody who, comes up to, it would be the guy's got 20 years and he's pretty good. Yeah. That craft as it is, especially the hand roller thing, is an art.
And Esteli is like the boom, right? There is like 50-something factories down there in a relatively small-ish town or city.
Well, back in the day, some of the rollers were starting out when they were kids. Yeah. When I say kids, I mean like
it's family 7, lineage, 8. Right? Like the grandfather shows father shows son and daughter.
Yeah, they'll start rolling somewhere between the 7 and 10 years old, and smoking cigars too. But of course, child labor laws and that type of thing. So they don't really do that anymore like they used to. But
I always bring this up. I think I brought it up a couple of times when I was down in Ybor City in Florida.
Okay.
And we're down there, and you see all the cigar shops, all the cigar roll shops. Literally,
worst cigars I had in my life.
Worst ones, huh?
Oh yeah.
What happened?
Woo.
Were they?
Right in Ybor City is some of the worst cigars I've ever had in my life.
One was rolled for me and handed to me immediately, and I had a good experience. I thought it was all right, but in general, no, huh?
I had one in Ybor City. I started smoking, and I literally wanted to put it down and go outside and just randomly just fight somebody.
Oh,
so it was that bad.
And what was in it?
Grass, freshly cut grass.
Okay,
I don't know what was in the filler, but it was terrible.
Okay, so you can tell from the filler.
So as I said again this morning, I was talking to Aric, and I said, what you got to understand, man, everybody's palate is not like ours.
True.
So you got a lot of new smokers out here, and some of the things that they feel is great, it's not as great as we feel it is, because we've been smoking longer, and we actually really appreciate the leaf.
Yeah.
And some people now today, they're just smoking just to be smoking.
True.
You got to do it for the gram. That's what it is. You got to look cool for the gram. If you're going to do it for the gram, you're not doing it. So.
Is this the only Vitolo currently in the Dark Warwich?
Yeah, the Robusto's coming though.
Yeah.
The PCA. Yeah, that's going to be delightful.
I was about to say, I would love to see this in like a 7x50 Churchill.
Okay.
Around 7x50, that would be. It's not far off from this box press, but that's Churchill and Toro.
For
those Robusto lovers, that's going to be a nice little treat.
Yeah.
Matt, I think we're at the top point right now.
Time to top off. This past February, there was news on Half Wheel that Black Star Line Cigars announced a distribution agreement with Illusione.
Yep.
That's true?
Yes, sir.
And if so, can you talk about what that means for Black Star Line and how that affects your operation?
Well, it gives me a peace of mind because I was doing all the distribution myself. So I got somebody else doing it, so that makes me happy because I'm not stressing out about shipping a bunch of shit to retailers. Thank you, brother. So it's also a mentorship because if I want, they'll show me how to run a warehouse. So eventually, if I take my distribution back and I have my own warehouse, like Kyle just did from Warped, I'll know how to run a warehouse and how to distribute and all that stuff and have the employees and that type of thing. They're also going to help me internationally. We are going to enter Tobacco in September. So we're going to make our global debut at the Enter Tobacco trade show. Cheers.
Cheers, gents.
The top off clink.
Top off.
So, yeah, man, it really ultimately is a peace of mind. I also have access to their sales rep that they deal with.
Okay.
So I just contracted with Impact Force. Michael Perales is the owner of Impact Force. So they're going to cover 23 states for me.
Wow.
And then I'm working on another broker that deals with Illusione. He's out of Texas, and he'll cover at least 6 other states that Impact Force doesn't cover. So that gets us up to close to 30 states that Cliff and I don't have to try to, me and him try to attack. They got a sales force that's going to help us. So that's going to help us out tremendously and help us grow, because the reason why we're not in a lot of places that we should be in is because it's 2 people trying to cover 50 states, and I can't be everywhere. I'm on the plane. We're doing events, and then I'm calling people. I'm at events calling people in other states, and it's busy. So I needed the help, and this is I'm welcoming this help because it's going to help us grow like crazy.
Forgive me. Did we introduce Cliff? I don't know if we did.
No, we did not. I'm
That's
sorry.
not right.
We have a guest kind of
AKA
off camera.
Mr. Brown.
We weren't anticipating, so we don't have a 4th mic. But yeah, he's
He's kind of
He's joining us.
orchestrating. He's like shaking his head. I'm like, no, yeah.
No, that's
okay.
not-
Yeah.
Yeah, Cliff
He's
is
helping.
my VP of sales, and he's my brother.
Awesome.
And my bodyguard.
Okay, I can see why.
Yeah.
I feel safe.
Sometimes
already,
my mentor. And,
Yeah.
so he wears many hats. So. Yeah.
Okay.
all of your cigars have received a 90 or more rating,
Yeah.
from what I can find from our friends at Cigar Dojo, Stogie
Mhm.
Press, Blind Man's Puff, including an impressive 95 on one of your recent releases, Lalibela,
Mm-hmm.
which bears a name that dates back to 12th century Ethiopia.
Yep.
Can you tell us a little about that?
Yeah, Lalibela are the stone churches that were built into the ground in Ethiopia. If you've never seen a picture of those churches, you need to just Google it and look at it. They're amazing. I personally have never been there. I have friends that have been there and seen them in person, and they told me that they're amazing. So I wanted to shine light on that area because that's another thing that a lot of people just don't know they're there.
Yeah.
And it may be, it may be added on some people's bucket list. Like, dude, I saw that on Black Star Line's band, and shit, I want to go see it in person. So, yeah, Lalibela is also it's the name of the area. It's the name of the emperor that ran the area. So it's a lot of historical names to Lalibela.
It's also the most holiest area of Ethiopia.
Yeah, there's rumored that the Ark of Covenant is supposed to be there. So I don't remember in the movie if Indiana Jones was there, but he did
know
find
if
it.
he was there.
So yeah, he did find the Ark, but I don't think it was in Ethiopia.
Allegedly, there was no alien intervention in that movie. That's for a different episode completely. But
So speaking of the band, I know you had a band issue with Lalibela where the picture didn't shrink right.
Oh, the band sucks.
The color kind of blended in with the Mexican San Andreas wrapper.
so is more an issue. Okay,
Yeah,
all right, okay.
yeah, I'll go ahead and say it. Yeah, the band sucks.
Okay,
You
all right.
know?
That's
I
that.
had some people, they were like beating around the bush. They was like, well, we just want to say about the band. And I was like, what do you mean, that it sucks? And they're like, well, yeah. I was like, yeah, I already knew that. So,
Using too many ums and does. You're
yeah,
like,
I was
here
like,
we
you
go.
don't need to beat around the bush with me. You're like, the fuck? Yeah, it sucks.
exactly.
It's about the cigar.
So it's got to be Instagram worthy, People got to
Yeah, I
take
was
pictures
like,
of it,
yeah.
like their food and their cigars. They got to post the.
I do agree with you, though. I mean, it's catchy what it is, but there's some simple bands that I've seen, and I'm like, the cigar's been great.
Yeah.
But I do, once again, see that balance, what they're trying to do.
Yeah, I'm so everybody knows I am tobacco intensive. So
I can tell by the
I'm-
blends that you're
this
coming
is-
out with.
yeah, I put all my energy into the tobacco. Now, I'm increasing my what do you call it? Band and boxes and that type of things to make it, because some people just want something that looks nice, and I get it. But I'm the type of person, I'm like, shit, I don't smoke the band, I don't smoke the box. So if it's, I want the tobacco. That's what I want. I want the tobacco.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I've
And
had
that's what I'm judging is what your tobacco,
The tobacco
quality
content,
is.
yeah.
And I'm like, say hypothetically, not hypothetically, I'll go ahead and fucking say it.
Do it.
Gurkha has some fantastic boxes and bands, and they put a bunch of money in that shit.
Yep.
But the tobacco is shit. So, you know, they got maybe 50 different expressions of cigars, but you had to go through all 50 of them to find 2 of them that you like.
Yep, that's what I said that in a previous episode. With Gurkha, especially when I first started out, you know, you can buy a Gurkha sampler for $25 or whatever. It comes with 5 sticks, and if you get one good one out of that sampler, maybe.
Are those the manufacturer
Yeah,
type? Are they
you rolling the dice?
Are they manufactured? You know, that the hand roll? Are they machine rolled type of deal?
They're hand rolled.
Okay, they are.
They're hand rolled.
All
Yeah.
right.
Hand roll. The problem is they don't own their own tobacco field, so they buying tobacco, and you know, you're talking about trying to replicate something year to year when the tobacco is new every year.
Gotcha.
And you're trying to stay consistent with what you're trying to do. And the problem they had for a while was they had inconsistency problems.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, they do have 1 or 2 blends through Aganorsa. I've never had them.
Oh, I didn't know that.
At this point, somebody would have to give it to me because I will not purchase it. Yeah. But those may or may not be okay. I don't know. You know, I've never had it. But the other ones I have had, the ones I liked, I can't even remember the names of them because they have so many different fucking cigars.
Well, that's why our friends at Benny's, they don't even carry Gurkha. That I don't believe, because there's so many. They were like, what do you choose from? And they don't have a big humidor in some of their locations, so they don't want to stock shelves with stuff
that's not going to
sell. Yeah.
Exactly.
So, hey, I admire your attention to history and the way you tie significance to your product. I would love to see what would happen if you and Nick Melillo ever got together on a collaboration.
Yeah,
have you ever thought of that?
He's a good dude.
Because all of his foundation cigars are history-based and
Haile Selassie,
some significance behind everything.
Emperor during World War II, right?
Yeah, I would love to work with Nick if he, you know, I've only met him once, and it was real brief.
Yeah.
At Rocky Mountain Cigar Fest. So I haven't had a chance to really just talk to him, you know. But for the brief interaction I had with him, I like him.
Okay. You hit it off. You could tell right from the.
Yeah, it's not many owners that I've met, and I've met damn near everybody at this point that I don't like. There is somebody.
Okay, there's a laugh. What's going on? It sounds like a loaded.
Really.
It sounds like a loaded statement.
Yeah, I mean, if he hears it, it's
care
fine.
to share? I don't know.
I don't give a shit. I'll say it. You know, that's how I am. Everything I heard about this guy. See, here's how I am.
He who shall not be named.
We just leave it.
No, I'm saying.
Okay.
But,
All right.
So here's how I am. I can hear a lot of stuff about people, but I always judge the person off my personal interaction with them, and I'll see if the stories I've heard about them match up to what my interaction was.
So you're being fair.
Yeah. So I ran into Rocky Patel at PCA, and I had heard from a bunch of people he's an asshole.
Really? Okay.
And when I met him, unfortunately, my interaction matched up to everything I had heard, and I didn't care for it at all. You know, so I was like, okay, well, I was like, unfortunately, you're in that category, you know, and I know he does a lot for the industry and all that, and that's cool, but you still got to be a good human being, though. Like you shouldn't think you're better than people just because you've been around longer or maybe you have more money, that type of thing, because I have more money than some people, but I don't shit on people because of what I've accumulated.
And that is, I mean, what we're talking about too, because I like to go ahead and ground it when we're talking about the things we're doing right now, is interactive. Okay, sure, you could sit there. Anybody could sit there alone and enjoy a cigar, and enjoy a whiskey, scotch, or bourbon. But I think when that quality standard raises, when you're with the right people who can share it, and you guys are experts, I'm far from it, but this experience is enjoyable to me, and there's more people like me out there than there are, like you folks, and who know what you're doing. We're talking, like you said, you've been doing it for quite some time, and your likes, your dislikes, things that appeal to you. I would probably hazard a guess at the very early, you had different opinions. And then as time went by, you're like, okay. And here it's actually, for lack of a better term, it's evolved in the quality of what you like.
Yeah.
But all along, you've kept that, like you said, that grunt, like I said, fairness. Okay, let's get back to why we're doing this. We're enjoying this. We want to share this with like-minded people who are fair and definitely want to continue the experience with us.
Yeah.
I think that's a fair assessment. I got a funny story. You want to hear it?
Of course.
Okay. So, we're going to be doing an excerpt of what's on your mind here. But I guess this could be what's on my mind. It was an experience that happened this week. So anyway, when I go to the gym lately, I'm trying to get rid of that COVID bod. And so I go to the gym, and I've been doing a little more cardio than normal. So I go to the gym, and I bring 2 shirts. Okay, one I work out in.
He's working on your glutes.
Yeah, working on my glutes, doing a lot of, a lot of knee bend. Yeah, so you know what I'm talking about. Okay, all right, so you've been there.
You gotta make sure it's juicy.
Yeah, that's not working for me. My wife says I don't, what's the word she used? She's so sweet. Oh, love you, Ken, but you don't have an ass. But I'm like, okay, because it's flat, I guess. I don't know. But, so, I mean, I never really looked at it. You know,
Mr. 6 o'clock.
Yeah,
Straight down.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there are a variety of other names there, too. Some more endearing than others. Other ones you're like, can't believe you said that to me. But, yeah. So, anyway, and it involves her in a weird kind of way. Funny you talk about that. So, I go to the gym, and, I'm getting ready. I'm kind of running late. Timing is all the essence. So, I run, and I'm looking for a shirt. I'm like, okay, there's one of my shirts in the dryer. Okay, the dryer just got done. You can go ahead and, you can still smell the fabric softener on it. Grab the shirt, roll it up, take off, go to the gym. Do my thing. And then I'm done with it. I go into the locker room. There's the mirror. There's a sink. And take the shirt off. Get ready to put my other shirt on. I go ahead and put the other shirt on. And I look
Flex a little bit before you put the other shirt on.
What's that?
You flex a little bit.
No. Yeah.
Does the
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I try. Whatever I do cardio, it's just a big oh my God, cover yourself for Christ's sake. Somebody sees you and might just quit their membership if they have to see you again. So I put the shirt on, and then I look.
A wet seal.
Yeah, and then I looked out. Well, yeah, I'm kind of slick at that time. But that's the whole purpose of it. You take this thing off and you get out and go home and shower. But and I look down, down my feet, and I look down and I go, holy crap, there's a pair of women's underwear there.
Oh, wow.
Okay, yeah.
All right.
Okay, and I'm looking down, I'm like, kind of freaking sick. All the words, are coming through my head. I'm looking down. I'm like, man, they look familiar. Hand to God, they look familiar. So, I mean, I don't have the best eyesight. So now I got an inkling of what they are and whose they are. Okay? So I pick them up, and I'm looking, and I go, these are my wife's underwear.
what was she doing in the gym?
That's my thought, too. So here's what I did. This is a very important thing that I'm all about empirical evidence. So I calmed the hell down for that 2 seconds. All right, who's the weirdo who brings underwear in here? And then I pick him up.
Might do it.
Was that?
Boofy might do it.
Okay, so you know some. Okay, all right. So you can share this story with him. This is very important because I needed another piece of evidence. I think it's her underwear. So I smell my shirt again. Fabric softener. You got to do that. Got to do it first, right? Anywhere before or after that is definitely going to be weird. Okay. Next thing you do, of course, is what?
Oh, you sniffed them.
Smell the underwear, and thank God there's a match. Thank God for that. Okay, I'm thinking what happened, as you guys probably guessed, it was caught in the shirt, fell out, and it was really interesting. I looked down at it, and I'm like, oh. And as I'm looking at it, put it down, I go, I got to really explain this to the guy who just walked out of the sauna in that towel looking at me. And he's standing there, and what do? You take what everybody would do. I sniffed it, put it in my pocket,
right here,
washed my hands, and then walked away, give him the old, hey, what's up, and walked out. I mean, I don't know what was in his head. He's probably like, well, what could have been? Maybe that was his dream date. I don't know. But, yeah. But I think the most important part of that is don't sniff the underwear first. Make sure that you do your sequential kind of thing. And I told my wife about that. So to go ahead and avoid that every time, I bring a new pair of underwear with me already, so I'm not shocked. They're in my pocket. And then after I'm done working out, it's my new ritual.
So we got a buddy that works at a lounge, and he walks around with an extra pair of jeans. So
okay.
I was like, I had to ask him. I was like, so
What do you mean? Like literally is holding them as he's walking around?
Yeah, he walks in. He has a pair of jeans in his hand, and I was just like, "So why do you have an extra pair of jeans? Are you like scared you're gonna shit yourself and you need to like change up? You don't want to go home?" Or
Questions
like,
begot questions.
I was like, I got a bunch of questions about why you have a spare pair of jeans with you at a cigar lounge. So yeah, it was a bit weird, but
what did he tell you? What did he say?
Well, I'd say this.
Okay, here we go. Oh, so we
I'd
do.
say this. If he see this recording, he's gonna kill him.
Okay. So I mean, what comes next is obviously thought. I mean, this is like there's gonna be a careful answer if there is gonna be one.
no, I didn't say any names. So.
Okay.
He's gonna kill him.
But I'm dying now. Why? Why the
What was
pair?
the explanation? On
Why another?
he had the
Why
jeans?
Explanation was because I was still laughing at the fact that he had an extra pair of pants with him. So
extra pair of denim
we,
with him?
we were laughing so hard. I actually didn't get a valid explanation, but I was like, wow.
We didn't get. Okay, so how many times have you seen him do this?
That was the first time, and it wigged me out. I was like, whoa.
and I've been doing it since I was 12. So
Did he do it again?
no.
Well, maybe it was like
He probably won't around me. So
maybe it was very specific. Maybe he was going to another event, or like hey, I don't want the smell of well, then he brought it in with
he
him.
was like,
So
oh, well, I don't want this fresh pair of jeans to smell like smoke. So
yeah, but then why bring him in? You know, go change out by the parking lot like the rest of us.
Right.
You know, that's where I change my pants. Just dumb. Oh well, and we all.
like y'all should have seen the IG live I did with Boofy. So me and him didn't know each other at the time. So I just reached out to him like, hey man, you want to do an IG live with me? He was like, yeah, dude, let's do it. So, I didn't know him very well. I've heard that he's crazy, but I didn't know how crazy he was. But the thing that threw him off was he didn't know I was just as crazy as he is. So he was
starting to
throwing
get that
stuff out,
vibe.
and I was throwing it right back at him.
I'm starting to get that vibe.
And he does rings and jewelry and sculpt stuff. So I was just like, hey man, I told him, I was like, I got elephantitis, right? It was like my balls are really,
here we go.
really,
I'm like-
really big.
And
He was like, oh yeah. He was like, are they hairy too? I was like, yeah, they got a considerable amount of hair on them. And then I was like, hey, I was like, I know you sculpt things. I was like, you think you make a sculpture of me? He was like, hell yeah. I was like, okay. I was like, I need one with me just sitting on top of my balls with hairs coming out.
holding a vase, or, just something,
All right.
to take off some of the
Smoking a
attention.
cigar.
Yeah, I need balance.
See, it makes
know.
sense because when we was at PCA the last time,
Mm-hmm.
or TP, one of the two, Boofy had a booth there, but he had a box, and everybody kept saying, "No, open that box up." Open the box up, it has Boofy condoms in it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the old typical. What's in the box? 7. Yeah.
What's in the
Yeah.
box?
What's in the box? Oh gosh. So I'm gonna ask the name or the reason for the name. Boofy.
I don't know.
No?
It's some nickname off his last name. So
Oh, okay.
I never
Yeah.
asked him that.
Yeah, that's the normally used
Yeah,
name.
I never
All
asked.
right, Matt is like, okay, Matt, bring us back, please. Yeah, get us back into the deeper water because we're almost.
I don't even know if I want to continue.
We're
man.
almost on the rocks, so
I'm with you, man. We get back on track.
get
and
back
then
on track. But that's
I'll
what.
steer the train
Yeah,
off the road.
well, that's what
a
we
little
do here. We drink. That's
Yeah.
what guys do and gals
Happens.
do. We drink.
And that's
we smoke, we talk
the
about
spirit
things.
behind
Yeah.
cigars is most people for the most, especially back in like the Titanic days, and they got into their smoking room.
bit. White Star Line.
Perfect way to bring it full
See what I did there?
circle. Okay, so this is not quite a disaster.
They
What
went
do
in the
you
smoking
mean?
room. They talked about their cigar for probably a minute and a half, and then they just talked about everything else. So I mean, it's not uncommon. Most of our episodes kind of go off the rails, but
They do. This is normal. The norm.
so you've mentioned recently that you had plans for a Black Star Line Foundation.
Yes.
Oh.
Is that still in the works?
Yeah, I need to talk to some people that know how to set up that type of demonstration because I'm not familiar with it. So, but yeah, the activations. So what I want to do is tobacco is so demonized. I want to
Yes.
make sure that people know that
Yeah.
I'm using tobacco and the reputation I've built in the tobacco industry to help some people.
Exactly.
So I'll partner with a women's shelter or something. I'm going to find something to make sure that I help people, and hopefully the FDA can get wind of that. Like, hey, they're using tobacco that we think is so evil to help somebody.
Well, I mean, the FDA they're starting to slam down on infused cigars, which I know you have a couple, but I know you're not a big fan of infused.
I'm not at all. I'm not. If they did away with them, I actually wouldn't be upset about it because that'll take another thing off my plate because I infuse everything myself.
Yeah.
Oh.
So and it's time consuming. So if they actually did take that away, I wouldn't be totally upset. Now, who's going to be really upset is Drew Estates because acid is the #1 fucking selling cigar in the world.
Yeah, exactly. We learned that too. We learned that along the way.
They're going to be the ones that's really like, oh fuck.
We had one of our previous guests. He does the Don Rafa. He's a local Chicago based company as well.
Who, Maximus?
Raphael Yaka.
Oh,
Don Rafa.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I never met him. I know
does
Maximus.
a lot of
Great guy,
but he does a lot of infused. He's got
love him.
I think he's starting to really explore into the premium. He's got his Habano box press and a couple of others, but nothing. You know, he's got like peach cobbler and all these weird flavors. I mean, I called him the Willy Wonka of cigars.
Yeah, because that's how, ironically, that's
the
how
list
he
just
got
goes
in.
on.
Yeah, okay.
He got in with the infused, and he's got a great story too. Fantastic story. But he's a premium cigar lover. I mean, he got into the infused. There's a market for it, clearly.
Yeah.
But he went to his love, and it went. That's where he really enjoys the premiums.
I've never met him before. I didn't know that's how he.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't make my intro with infused, but I mean, you got to get in how you get in. So
Exactly.
So time to pick your favorite child. If you were to pick any cigar out of your line, which is your go-to?
El Milagro Corojo.
Really?
Yeah,
Hands
but that's
down,
partly because that was. Excuse me. That was one of my first blends. So I'm always gonna go back to the originals.
And that's the
There
red
goes that
label, right? Because
loyalty
you do
again.
the red label for the fire department and the blue label for police.
That is
Yep.
awesome.
Yeah,
You're here to that.
And I made the red one a little stronger because I felt firefighters were stronger than cops.
No, they just breathe in a lot more smoke. That's
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I like that.
yeah. So you got to give them something stronger. They do that every day. So.
I like that.
So when you kick back and relax and you put smoke in the air, what is your go-to drink? I know you're a Scotch guy.
You are. I didn't know that.
Yeah, Brook Lottie. Brook Lottie is my. I've actually in whatever topic we're talking about. I really don't have an absolute favorite except for like hip hop and Scotch. So I've narrowed it down for Scotch. Brook Lottie is my absolute favorite distillery. Their proofs are always right at 100 proof. It doesn't matter.
deviate.
Yeah, it doesn't matter which expression they got.
Where are they located?
Brook Lottie is Scotland. The actual section of Scotland, I can't remember off the top of my head.
Because you've got 5.
It's not Isla.
No, it's not. Well, I was telling.
It's not Highland either.
Yeah, because you have Highland and the Low. They designate. There's 6 areas, but I think their association out in Scotland, they identify with 5.
Mm-hmm.
5 different regions.
Mm-hmm.
You got the Highlands and the Lowlands, and it's kind of interesting too because you're going to have a different taste and hue, just the way the climate is,
Oh yeah.
the way the elevation is. Obviously, what's on, for Speyside, for example, because you're closer to the surf. And we talked about that too. The different flavors that come in from the salt.
Speyside either.
Not Speyside.
Yeah, we had a Scotch last episode.
We did, yeah, from
Cardhue?
Yeah, which was a Speyside. But that's the beauty. Well, Scotch. 90% of the Scotch that comes out of Scotland is a blend.
Yeah.
Okay,
Unless it's a single malt.
Yeah, they're single malt. Those are the as far as the Parthenon goes. Yeah, the high end.
Yeah, that's mostly what I drink is single malts. I don't really do blends unless it's Compass Box. Compass Box makes some good blends.
Because I want to say, dare I say, like that's another one that is from a single distillery. I think the malts are pot still type of deal as well. They're age old. Now you were talking about your favorite. I mean, Matt. I don't want to compartmentalize, but Matt will gravitate to a bourbon.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm bourbon.
Which bourbon?
Well, I'm a fan of Willet. There's a couple of other distilleries that I like. I like anything in the 100 proof range, which has been aged for more than 4 years. I'm a big fan of Bottle and Bond. Anything younger than that, I feel is just premature, as almost people in the wine industry would say it's a baby, and you can tell right off the nose. You don't even have to taste it.
What about John J. Bowman?
I've had Bowman. And
Yeah,
Bowman is good.
yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, John J. is.
They got
Yeah.
Bowman's, but John J.
Yeah, it's Bowman Brothers, it's John J. Isaac Brothers. The John J. in my opinion is the best one, but that's the hardest one to find.
One of my new favorites, and my father-in-law kind of has he's part of the membership down there in Austin, Texas, but it's
Okay.
the Garrison Brothers.
Heard of it, never had it.
Fantastic facility. They grow their own, all their hops
Okay.
and everything there, and all their and they what I find fascinating is that they have a group of 300 members and volunteers that will go there, and you can sign up to help hand wax dip the bottles,
Wow.
hand write on it.
Giving back to the community. That's what I'm about.
The greatest part about it is every half hour you get a shot of encouragement,
Okay.
Or you can sip it.
or you can sip it. But yeah, it's just a great facility, and he's turned me on to that. And we actually went to a bar last weekend, and
Yeah.
we had their 2017 Cowboy Edition, which is like 130 something proof, but it's been
Okay.
aged, and you can't tell. You
Yeah.
can't tell.
Okay.
The high octane.
The quick story with that, because we were doing our research, we're, empirical research kind of guys. And I was drinking, I like it real quick. I kind of gravitate toward the Irish whiskeys.
Okay.
I mean, and we'll,
Teeling.
Yeah,
Yeah, Black
should we,
Pits.
yeah, I haven't had that. What did we have?
We had the
No, I
Teeling.
haven't had that.
Oh, Black Pits is fantastic.
Okay, guys.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's peaty though.
I gotta bring
so-
somebody in here just to take
You
notes
should've-
for me and like hold it up.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't bring your.
It's a
you
peaty
didn't bring your-
Irish Scotch.
Yeah,
so-
is it peaty? Okay, because a lot of the
Yeah.
Irish ones aren't.
It's heavy peaty.
See, that's a note for the Scotch normally.
It's
Yeah.
sorta-
And there's
it's sorta
only a
like Lagavulin.
Okay.
You've had that
Yes.
before.
Because if you guys are tapping in probably to a very elite Irish one, because they don't have too many, but the ones that they do are on that top end that you're talking about.
Yeah, Connemara has a
Yeah.
peated
the-
Irish whiskey too.
They smoke that.
Yeah.
They smoke the peat.
Yeah, Connemara is good too.
So we were at this local establishment we were talking about. I'm having an Irish whiskey, and then I went in there and I said, "What?" I started asking them questions. I asked if they had some Pappy Van Winkle and all that, and they're like, "No, we don't. But we have this," and it was the
Cowboy.
Cowboy. And
Okay.
he didn't know
Garrison
that, so I want to
Brothers.
surprise Matt. I like to surprise him when I can.
He's
They
a
did.
good guy. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah. You talking to my dad, weren't you? But
I'm not mentioning any names.
did Dad call you again? No. So anyway, the place we went to, okay, they didn't serve them in these. They served them in, this is a shot in a bar place.
That was like the only
Shot in a beer,
downfall. Is
yeah,
when you
well,
pour
yeah.
something like that into a
Yeah.
shot glass, I'm like, give me a sifter, give me
Yeah,
a
but
Glencairn
I mean,
glass
basically,
or
when you get a
something.
good whiskey, you'll drink it out of a new shoe. But you'll drink it out of a shoe if it's good stuff. But anyway, so there it was. In fact, that is on the bottle. That star you guys have seen, that metal. I even asked the gentleman, "Can I have that?" Because we were finishing off the bottle.
Mhm.
So he gave it to me, and I suggested Matt turn that into like a metal, like turn it in with a pin so he can wear it, like
Like a general.
yeah, like a general.
No,
or,
no,
yeah.
right
Yeah.
here?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So it's actually on the bottle, and like you're talking about
nice.
with the connection with the father-in-law, and so I handed it to him, and he took a sip, and he goes, "Hey, have you ever tried it?" I go, "I never have." So I did, and he said it was a higher octane, but the thing that immediately jumped at me, and the best term I can go with was a roll of flavor. When I went to the nose test, I could smell. Okay, you could smell the alcohol, you could smell some of the hints, what it is. But the roll of flavors that I couldn't identify every flavor, but definitely you could tell there's a transition, and it rolled across. You had the nice warm burn at the end there,
Yeah.
and I'm like, okay, I get it. Now we've got another different type of brown liquor we've tasted that it's defined by how it's made and whatnot.
It's completely different than any
Yeah.
high octane
Yeah.
type of bourbon or whiskey that I've had.
Well, it's the same as Octanium. Octanium's come out of Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
They have one that's 137 proof, and I mean, it's flavor-wise, it's beautiful. But when it hits your chest,
Yeah,
when it burns.
that's that burn, and that's the thing I've
That's a
been
win-
learning.
that's a
It doesn't
winter
really
drink.
burn up here at all. It don't burn
Oh,
up.
it waits. It's like wait for
The
it.
good
Wait for it.
guys
It's
at
like
Cigar Dojo put us on to
yeah.
that.
So it's like a
We're
time
Colorado,
bomb like
so-
that, huh? Because that's, I mean, we use our novice terms, the burn, whatever it may be, but that's how we come across them with the nose, palate, and the finish.
Mhm.
But no, that was a good experience.
Yeah.
So
There you go.
So I can imagine you're traveling a lot with events and conventions recently. What's next for you?
Memphis. We leave from Memphis on
Memphis.
Thursday. I got 4 events in Memphis, so we're gonna be humping. So we got one at Fat Charlie's. We got one at Tinderbox.
Ooh, Tinderbox. I've
Yeah.
been meaning to try to go
Yeah, so and then
Wow.
Saturday the 7th we have 2 events. So it's the Cigars, Whiskey and Bourbon event during the day, and then we're doing Spring Street right across the border in Mississippi and Tupelo that night.
See, to me, that would be called Christmas. But go ahead.
Well,
You can go.
will Black Star Line Cigars be in Vegas for the PCA or Rocky Mountain?
Translated in.
Yeah, we're doing PCA. I'm not doing Rocky Mountain this year.
We're there.
Um,
You're not.
It was the Rocky Mountain was just too pricey for me. And we're so small, man. I can't give up that much money to be there. So we did it once. It was a great experience, great event. We sold a lot, but we didn't make a lot because they took a lot to be there.
So the buy, it was like a Pyrrhic victory.
Yeah, so you have to give 1,400 cigars or something like that just to be eligible to come to the event, and then they take 60% of what you sell. So it was for us to be so small. It was that's not feasible for me to do it again. So
This is interesting insight. Those little things you don't know about, like what are the built-in stuff. Like I would have never guessed that.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have surmised it, but I'm like, but now you
it was
throw
a
that
great
gravity.
event, though.
So I get it. It took 60%, and their tobacco tax is like 47%. And then
That's their syntax. Huh?
Right.
Yeah.
Plus the cigars we gave, so it didn't make money sense, but it was a great event. It was a good experience.
Great experience. You guys
Yeah, so we
networked
just
pretty
paid
well.
for basically notoriety and for people to get to know us. So
So you came away with enough money to buy beer and groceries. Like that's how I lived through college.
Yeah.
$20 a week.
So in the spirit of the name and the culture, especially with Lalibela and all that, will you be exploring future blends or wrappers that include like a Cameroon to maybe showcase tobacco grown in Africa?
Ooh.
yeah, if I can get it. Aganorsa doesn't have it, so I had to source it and have it sent over to Aganorsa. So
Yeah.
depends on what factory I'm working with if they have access to that tobacco. Aganorsa deals with Aganorsa tobacco. They source some stuff in. And where they're like San Andreas and even my Connecticut shade, they sourcing that in. So that's why they charge me a little bit more for that tobacco, because that's not tobacco that they grow.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it just depends on who I can get it from and if it's at a good price and that type of thing. I'll have to probably go to like AJ Fernandez or something like that. But AJ has from what I understand, what I heard, and I don't know if it's true because I've never met AJ. So I haven't had a conversation with him. But what I've heard is the lead time to get cigars out of his factory is a year.
Wow.
And I can't place an order for $150,000.
Not yet.
Give them $75,000, because you got to pay half up front.
Yeah.
And then wait a year, and I got $75,000 just floating out, and I'm not making any money off of it. That doesn't sit well with me. So I can't do that. We're too small for that. So
Are you maybe planning on using any Candela in the future stick? Maybe as a wrapper or like a barber pole?
Oh,
I know
here
it's
we
kind of
go.
gimmicky,
Okay,
but
you just walked him into something. Let's hear this. Okay, they make you laugh like
Young
that.
tobacco.
Here we
Giggling,
go.
so-
Yeah, he's giggling. He's like,
yeah.
Unaged.
Candela's a young tobacco. That's why it's green. I do like certain Candelas. Like I originally liked the wasabi that Aric Espinosa put out. But I had it in where were we? Dallas. And it just didn't taste good.
It adds and it has to be balanced with the right, especially when you do like a barber pole. I know we've had the Asylum 13 Ogre, the Alec Bradley,
which I happen to like.
Filthy Hooligan.
Yeah.
If it's balanced right, it adds so much sweetness to it, so much like baby flavor to it that you almost need to have a strong. I mean, if you throw this much Lajero inside in a blend and then throw a Candela barber pole on it, it might even
I'm not a
out the
huge
needle.
fan of barber poles though.
Yeah.
So
But you brought a point to it last time we had that Shamrock, that Hooligan.
Yeah,
It's
the
like
triple wrap.
it had to actually be perfectly wrapped so they all had that confluence of coming together and burning.
Yeah.
Because we were lighting those up quite a bit. We kept retouching those up.
Well, that's also another
Yeah.
thing, especially with the triple wrap, the Shamrock, or even a regular barber pole. It's not one continuous wrap. It's you
Yeah.
almost have to
Yeah, so that term I use, confluence. So they all come together like a confluence of Three River Stadium, Pittsburgh. Just letting you know.
Wow.
Yeah, that was easy, right? He's a big Dallas fan.
Okay.
You know, and I don't know why, but
Ultimate goal, Black Star Line Cigars in 10 years. Where do you see that? The ceiling, where do you want to be?
I'm a big fan of Romacraft's business model, where they only stay around 250 accounts. So yeah, I'd like to be around there because that's very manageable, and they sell a ton of stuff. So you know, I think I could do exactly what Skip and Mike are doing, and you know, and keep it at a manageable amount of cigar lounges, whereas I can go visit and that type of thing. So.
And I think basically, and you're touching on some points here because you guys have a quality product. I'm not just saying that because you guys are
That's
here.
fantastic.
Because last week when I smoked what you guys had out, I'm like, okay, I'm impressed. You know, it's like, who cares? Don't take much to impress Ken. But I mean, the thing is, it's like, I'm like, okay, here we have. I know what I like and I know what I don't like. That's the litmus test for me.
That's the most important thing.
Yeah, and it really when it comes down to it. And after you get past that span of control, I mean, this is you. I mean, well, I heard some stories about you, good stories about. I mean, how you got into
Some
it.
bad ones too. But.
I'm waiting for those. But like, you know what? I'm like, you think
Those are
that's
hard to find.
I'm like, here's I'm like, you think that's bad? Let me tell you about, and then we'll leave it for another show.
Right.
But how you got into it, was a testament to your determination to it too. It's just like basically, Matt was telling me a little story. He had a dialogue with you before about how you got into it. I mean, when was your epiphany? Like, I'm going to do this. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Man, it was just literally my love of the leaf. I was smoking at the firehouse. I mean, I've smoked years before that, like in the Bahamas, but you know, I venture to say if I smoked the same cigar I smoked in the Bahamas, I probably would have thought it was complete trash.
Really?
You know, but I was on a boat drinking 151
Bacardi?
cocktails,
Good
and
Lord.
smoking cigars, and I was just
Gasoline.
completely out of my mind, you know. So yeah, I
Oh,
didn't.
digging it. I mean,
yeah,
you're bringing back some memories.
man.
Most traumatic, but you're
Yeah,
bringing
because
back some
Bacardi
yeah.
doesn't even make 151 anymore.
Yeah, because it is jet fuel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but they still sell
sorry.
Everclear though, so that's a 190 proof. So
Yeah, but they've masked that. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but so that is how you did. But then all of a sudden, with the act of furtherance, what did you do to actually get into the business? I mean, you could think about it, but then you made it actionable. How'd
did
you
a
do
lot of
that?
networking at Drew Estate events. So at the time, which was it was almost like the stars were in alignment. So at the time, JD was bringing out his liquor line. So Benny's is, as you know, is a big liquor chain. So he was
Sure.
coming to Chicago a lot to do events at Benny's because he was trying to push his liquor line. And it's they have 47 locations, so that's a good place to push it at.
Yeah, it's a big account.
So
Sure.
we just he probably when he was trying to do his liquor line, he probably came to Chicago at least 4 times, and I stayed in his face every time he came to Chicago.
No kidding.
And we were letting him know we were serious about getting into the cigar industry, and the more we let him know, the more he wanted to help us.
That squeaky
So-
wheel got oiled.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's what led us to El Titan de Bronze, because he told us he was like, "Hey man, just stay on him and keep calling, let them know you really want to do this." And it all paid off because she eventually did the blend for us.
Wow.
So, dude, this Dark Warwich is absolutely amazing. Just a fantastic smoke.
Oh, thank you.
It's like we mentioned, Instagram worthy. Construction
That
and
was
burn.
okay, you guys, because I'm
Just-
kind of like
It's just body slamming with flavor and strength. I'm a huge fan of this. I will say though, at least for me, there are a few in the industry that can almost blindly match the cigar with the person who blended it and produced it. Most people will taste it themselves. If they don't like it, they're not going to produce it. Some of the smoking profiles I personally like, and for example, with experience, you can almost identify like a Steve Saka versus Nick Malillo versus an AJ versus a John Huber. This cigar definitely has a unique profile. That, I mean, if I was blindfolded, I can maybe move the needle towards. Yep, this is an Aric Bey.
See, I don't know if I could. I'm not that discerning, but I mean, hopefully someday I will when I get older.
Like a signature.
Yeah.
Right. Once you find a
When I grow
cigar,
up.
you know what it is. You know who makes it. I pretty much can tell just about any cigar that's made by AJ, even if it's not AJ's product, it's somebody else's product.
Oh, okay,
You know
fair
the
enough. Yeah.
You know the signature of that cigar.
Yeah.
So you're a Southsider, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Best hot dog. Gene and Jude's, Super Dogs, or Portillo's?
Portillo's.
Best deep dish. Pequod's, Luminati's, or Giordano's?
Luminatus.
Is it Willis Tower or still Sears Tower?
Sears.
It's gonna be Sears.
Yeah, that's Sears forever.
And last, and this might be a house divided, Cubbies or White Sox?
Baseball is boring to me.
Facts.
So the story behind that is Bo Jackson is one of my favorite players ever, and like just athletes ever.
Yeah, he is.
I went to see him when he was playing for the Sox, and I fell asleep. And then 10 years later, I took my son to his first baseball game. I had one beer and fell asleep. So it's just I used to play baseball too. It's just
So you
just
fell
watching
asleep.
it. This is boring.
You fell asleep because of the game, not because of Bo, obviously, but
Yeah, it's the game. It's too slow for me.
Yeah,
I need some kind of violence. Somebody got to hit
so
somebody or
football.
something.
You're a football guy.
Oh yeah.
Okay, and no question. I mean, Matt, you like baseball. Is that your first?
Baseball is my first love, yeah.
Yeah.
Grew up a Mets fan, so we're having a fantastic season. Let's not mention
Mets.
He said the
Daryl Strawberry.
He said
Yeah.
the Mets.
Yeah.
He said the Mets.
I met him not too long ago.
let's just put it
really?
Yeah.
on the
He was out-
record.
he was out this way.
The no hitter that happened last night.
Okay,
against
yeah,
the
there was
filthy Phillies.
Go ahead and tell you. I actually brought that
I
up.
mean, I don't want to get too far into detail, but it is,
It's-
we had the Johan Santana no-hitter, which is controversial because Carlos Beltran hit a foul ball, which obviously hit the chalk line. You could see it. So I never considered that a no-no.
Here we go.
But this last night was a nice, what I considered the first no-hitter from the Mets.
Well, actually, it's historic.
Yeah.
Do you know the background on that?
It's a no, I believe, because it took five pitchers.
Five pitchers.
Five pitchers came in
pitchers
and still did it.
did a
Okay.
no-no, which is, I think, I don't know if it's the first ever, but
17th time it actually has happened in Major League history.
Yikes.
yeah, and they beat the
Okay.
Phillies. Not shocked. But the
I hope that happens all the time.
Yeah.
I hate the Phillies.
Really? Okay.
yeah,
Anything from Philly, except for maybe the Philly cheese.
I shouldn't have done that. I'm going to be talking off the ledge after this.
But
Football, which is the sport.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that.
even as a Cowboys fan, I hate the Eagles. So I mean,
And you should. You know
correlates.
why? Because I told you about
I know
that
coming, yeah.
linebacker they should have grabbed. A linebacker out of Georgia.
Oh yeah.
Guess who got him?
Is that the beast that like did the massive 50-yard line dash? 300-pound guy who had like the 10-foot
No,
something
not that
standing
guy.
on.
I don't know his name. He's this. I mean, I should know the name, but he was instrumental. I mean, Georgia was loaded for bear with the defensive players that went there. In fact, they were talking about perhaps, and we have to check the facts on this, probably slated to have a record amount of draft choices that were defensive.
They had 5 in the first round.
There you go. And I think, yeah, and as in the third round, he escapes me. I'm looking at him right now. I mean, when you get old like me, you forget things like every day. I'm
Very
surprised I'm wearing pants today. But they got him. I told you Dallas should have grabbed him.
Always keep an extra pair with you, though.
Yeah, well, you know what? So your friend there has taught us a very valuable lesson, Just,
Just keep an extra pair of jeans with you. It's okay.
well, I do, but maybe I'm learning.
Kill him if you see this.
Okay, but I learned a lesson. Maybe I shouldn't be changing my pants in the parking lot. Is what what I've learned from today.
You had basic jeans. You had designer jeans. You just keep changing them.
Okay, he's gonna kill him. Huh? Is that what he's saying? Okay. Well, I mean, God bless him, because now I'm gonna start doing that. I'm gonna walk along, roll over and like, hey, what's up? That's my jeans, and then make it a thing.
Yeah, just switch them up.
So your wife has a podcast, Faith
Yes,
Over
she does.
Everything.
Yep.
Want to give that a quick plug and give her a
Please
shout
do,
out?
please do.
Yeah. Faith Over Everything podcast is she talks about a bunch of different topics from women to men, racial things. I mean, it's everything. Aric was on her podcast. He's a good friend of mine. So
Who was that?
Aric.
Okay.
Yeah. So she had a Hall of Famer on her podcast. So
Does she smoke cigars?
yes and no.
Okay.
She'll only smoke a cigar if she comes to my event. But she
That's
doesn't.
kind of a rule.
Yeah, she doesn't on a regular basis like me. No.
No. Well, because
She
also,
doesn't even really drink either. So
in fairness, I mean, the things we've talked about, because I think a lot of things me and Matt talk about is, I think it's a group out there that is clearly underrepresented in this venue. Now, I mean, the stigma is, okay, this is what guys do. I go, I don't think it's a fair assessment. I mean, there probably are quite a few
There's a
women out there.
Very large women.
Yeah, and I think that's something we want to
Yeah.
kind of like embrace that because I think it's
So 8 years ago, the big boom shocked the cigar industry with black women smoking cigars.
Yeah.
And they had literally carried the cigar industry for a while. Well, they still carry the cigar industry right now.
no kidding.
They're actually smoking better than most men now.
I mean, it's funny because of the smoke shop that I go to, you know, and over there on Burning Leaf and there Aurora.
Mhm.
Yeah, what you guys just mentioned. So, young lady come in, and you could see what she knew what she was doing. You could like, I mean, wasn't being like weird, like listening to everything that she said, but most of what she was saying. But yeah, she knew she was rattling off where she wanted this, wanted a certain cut, and sat down with everybody else and just was in the crowd like everyone else.
Yeah.
And I looked at that and I'm like, that's exactly, once again, coming back to what this should be about.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I think that's it's not so much the product as it is also the culture and the bringing together concept with that. So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah,
You know.
well, we sell the cigar industry is the most educated product that we're selling to the uneducated consumer.
So you're talking to me.
Yeah, so
thank you.
you know, it's it's a very intricate product that has a lot to do with it, but a lot of people don't know what the fuck is in the cigar. They just smoke it.
True,
So,
true.
Um,
And once again, I guess what we're finding out is you don't have to unless you like it.
yeah.
Whatever your likes and dislikes are.
Well, with me is like I'll be smoking the cigar. I'll either be reading about that cigar or I'll be reading about another cigar. So, because that's the way I keep increasing my knowledge.
Yeah.
So, and I never really smoke the same thing. I always smoke something different because that's how I keep building my palate. I don't want to trap my palate into a quote unquote favorite cigar. If you keep smoking the same shit, then you're not gonna grow as a smoker.
Okay.
And that's just a simple principle of life. Like if you keep eating the same meal all the time, then you're not gonna really appreciate anything else. So you got to keep building that palate. And it doesn't matter what it is, if it's wine, scotch, bourbon, gin, it doesn't matter what it is. You got to keep testing your palate out on different things to see what you like and what you don't like and pick up the notes on whatever it is. And that's how you keep growing your palate, and that's how you really become a quote-unquote aficionado that people keep throwing that term out and they don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Got it.
So,
Well, that's insightful for sure.
So, listener, if you want more details on Black Star Line Cigars, go to their website, blackstarline.shop. Check out their retail partner page for a full list of shops and locations, or you can order directly from Black Star Line.
yep.
This is the last thoughts of the last third. I know we're pretty much coming down to it, but I mean, would I smoke it again? Absolutely. I enjoyed every aspect of it. It's just outstanding.
Our ratings. What are we gonna say?
Yeah, we're gonna go with the ratings. I enjoyed this experience. It's in line with being probably one of the best full-bodied, full-strength cigars that I've had. I would probably do this with a good espresso, maybe a French press cup of Warwick coffee, also available at blackstarline.shop.
Did not know that.
Or grab a bottle of the Willett Pot Still that we're enjoying right now, which I would say is my rating cigar, and it's going to be kind of tough because I'm sitting next to the guy who makes it, but a full body, full strength is my weakness. I love these type of cigars. My score is probably the highest that I think I've ever given on this show.
Nice.
I'm giving the Black Star Line Dark Warwick a 9.0.
There you go.
We do figure skating rules. We don't do the 94, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
I get it.
he used to
And,
figure skate.
And if I feel like if you... I posed
I was
this
more of a
question,
luge
if
guy.
you give something a 10, like where you go from there, and he was like, well, you give it an 11. I'm like, that's not how it works.
Yeah.
It caps off at 10. You can't go over a 10.
Okay, and then it's funny you said this because probably when we topped off is when I already had it in my head what I was going to score this. And, most notably, I've learned is a lot of times you're going to find out exactly what you're feeling in probably the first third of a cigar.
Yep.
When it gets closer, you feel more heat. The flavor, obviously, in that first third is going to go ahead and reveal itself. You say 9.0, and this is not just to one-up you. It would have been a 9.1. It's a 9.1 point.
Yeah, you
I
one-upped
know.
them.
Yeah, I one-upped him,
You did it.
but you know what?
He literally one-upped me.
Yeah, you did.
Well,
Yeah,
I'm like,
you
I'm
did.
here. Well, I'm like, listen to you. Better not say 9. You better not say 9. You better not say higher than 9.1.
That's like before you say a comment, you say with
Yeah.
all due
He's-
respect.
Like I said, it's that.
Like,
Yeah.
oh,
No,
it's
it's
gonna
like
be some
okay.
disrespect
I'm
in
like,
this
I go,
comment.
okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, here we go. I'm like gripping the table. I'm like, I'm like, it's not this witness protection thing where you're like, oh yeah, I saw the same thing.
He's
You
the
know, it's
guy
like,
on
Exactly.
yeah.
He's the guy on that. What is that one show? Come on down. With
Fall
Drew Carey.
Guy.
No, with Drew Carey, or was Bob Barker?
It's like a deal.
No,
Yeah.
Wait,
Yeah.
is Bob Barker on there?
Yeah.
it was Bob Barker.
He's right. It was Bob.
I think I
The
had
Price
to
is
Gilmore.
Right.
Let's make
The
it
Price is
Bonnie
Wrong,
Hall.
bitch.
Price is wrong. Oh,
He's that guy who
perfect.
goes, yeah, 601.
Yeah. No, it was a 9.1. I would have to say. And okay, go back. Okay, I'll let you go back.